There's no use of pretending. We can have our happy ending. It's all over now.
One night I went to pick him up at the top of the town, and I was in my togs, mufti. So I've got the jeans, the white pumps and a t-shirt, and I had a towel up, and he came off, and I knew his act backwards, of course, working with him. And he used to schwitz a lot, perspire. And he came up, and I just held the towel up. I said, "Come on, Mr. Vaughan, you're having a stroll tonight." He went, "What?" Then he saw it as me, and he went, "Hey, Sweet Lips, how are you?" And he dabbed, and he went back on. He went, "At the side of the stage is a dear friend of mine." He liked to giggle, Frank, a giggler. He said, "Would you like to see him, Jimmy Tarver?" And they all went, "Yeah." And in the end, I wasn't done with her all that. And he's giggling and he's laughing at the band. Now, I knew where the straw hat was, and I knew the count-in for Dolly, which was his last song, Hello, Dolly. So I just went, I got the mic, went to the piano where the straw hat was. I went, "A 1, 2, 3," and the band went, "Dun, dun, dun." Well, he ran across the stage, he went, "Jimmy, not Dolly." I went, "Hello, boom, Dolly." And each time he came, I took the mic the other side. "What do you know? Boom, Dolly." He's going, "Not Dolly, please, it's so good." And I'm singing it, and I got all the audience singing it, and it brought the house down. And I just said, "Stop." I said, "Now he will sing it properly." "You're a rascal." He said, Then he got home and said, "Stella, do you know what he did to me tonight?"
If Frankie Vaughan was going to sing a song, you'd only want to hear him sing one. He works it better than anyone. Frank!
Hello, Dolly. This is Frank, Dolly. So nice to have you back where you belong. Looking swell, Dolly. I can tell, Dolly. You're glowing, glowing, you're still going strong. I feel a room swaying for the band playing one of your favorite songs way back when. So take her ride, fellas. Find her an empty lot, fellas. Dolly, don't go away again. Hello, hello, Dolly. You got me. Hello, Dolly.
It's so nice to have you back where you belong.
You're looking swell, Dolly. I can tell, Dolly. You're glowing, glowing, going strong. I feel the room sway. For the band sway. One of your own favorite songs way back when. So take a ride, fellas.
Find an empty lot,
Fellas, Dolly, don't go away again. I can feel a room sway from the band sway. One of your
favorite songs from way back when.
So take a ride, fellas.
Get an empty lot, fellas.
Dolly, don't go away.
Hey, Frankie, you're home to stay.
Dolly, don't go away again.
Maestro. Frankie Vaughan, ladies and gentlemen. That's it, that's right.
He became like a big brother to me because he was a world star, and I was a bit of a wild lad from Liverpool, and he took me under his arm and taught me things and showed me things, and he's a most delightful man. I used to call him their governor. He used to call me Sweet Lips because of my bad language. "Hey, Sweet Lips."
When I first knew him, and I was a session musician, I wasn't a sort of solo performer in those days, and he said to me, "Bert," he said, "you ought to sort of walk a bit different," and he'd give me tips on helping, like Hetty King helped him. He wanted to help other people, and he did stand out.
Good-looking guy. You know, I mean, nicely dressed man. You know, I introduced him to a good tailor in Liverpool called Dennis Newton, who made his stage clothing. He made mine in the early days, and beautiful suits.
I also remember that he was one of the last entertainers that I can think of that wore suspenders with his socks. You know, the suspenders that you have just below the knee that keep the socks from being totally wrinkle-free. He really wanted to be at his best at all times. He was always immaculate. On one occasion, he told the Beatles, they were doing a television show together, and he told them not to sit down in their suits because they would crease the trousers.
Frankie was the one who cared and thought about it. Most of the people were lovely people, but they were concerned with their own future. But Frankie was concerned for everybody.
He came from that old school, you know. It was still the school of politeness and looking your best. And he wouldn't have understood the casualness that crept in later with the big groups, with the Stones. I mean, the Stones would have probably horrified him.
It's so hard to become famous. And when you become famous, you must protect that. And he would protect it in saying to me things like, you know, we're always on parade, Jess, you know. When you leave your front door, you're in the public view, you're on parade.
In your arms around me, your kisses ring, yes. You taught me how to love you. Now teach me, baby, how to forget. You broke my heart in a million ways when you took my happy day. You left me lonely. Oh, I'm so lonely. You left me lonely night.
There wasn't a stroke of ego about him. I don't know another entertainer that I can say that about, because they all have ego. They live on it. Frank had none. And he was so thoughtful when our two children were born. The first flowers to come to the house were always from Frank. You would remember birthdays.
One thing we had in common was our birthday. We had the same birthday, but not the same actual birth, because I was born a year before Frank, so I was a year older than him. But however, many, many years ago, one of the magazines in London did an article about me, and they got my birthday 2 years wrong, so it made me 2 years younger than I actually was. So therefore, Frankie, it stayed like that all through the years. So Frankie, every time his birthday came along, I was a year younger than him instead of older than him, you see, and it used to drive him mad. And it was the most wonderful sort of item of conversation for us on our birthdays. We'd ring one another and he used to say to me, you've done it again. You've done it again. You've got younger again.
He said some nice thing to me. He said, it's very nice to be big, he said. It's lovely. But you don't have to be big to be nice. I thought, gee, that's, yeah. And Harry Seacombe said the same thing to me. They were in a mould of nice human beings.
As a man, he did what he did on stage, and he was right up there. But when he came home, he was just a very, very ordinary person. He did everything just the same as anybody else would.
He always encouraged me whenever I went anywhere. If I was on anywhere, he'd come in. Did several seasons with him. But if you asked Frank to do anything, creed, colour, nothing mattered to Frankie Vaughan, just to help his fellow man. And I learnt a great deal from him.
I think people looked at him, other celebrities looked at him as a teacher. He was a celebrity amongst celebrities because he was so integrous. He would talk to them about their marriages. You know, he was what I would call a healer, a therapist.
I think if you take all that talent and then you add to it his humanitarian ideals in life and his family life, I mean, you've almost got somebody, if he'd been around in biblical times and hadn't been Jewish, he would have been a disciple, I think. He really had everything. I've never met anybody who has a bad word to say about Frankie Vaughan.
Dad liked himself. I think that's an extraordinary epiphany for any human being to actually go, I'm happy with me.
We spent every day together. That's what we made. Yeah, working together. All the camaraderie.
I've not seen them in the same room for, I imagine, over 15 years. They're some of the closest people in my life, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing them, thanks to Bisto.
New Bisto Simply Casserole Paste for those homemade meals that bring people together.
We've given ourselves 10 seconds to show you how easy it is to switch flavours with our new e-cigarette, the Vipe e-pen. We only needed 7. The Vipe e-pen. Vaping made simple. Visit govipe.com.
Birdseye presents new Steam Fresh Mediterranean vegetable pasta.
Oh, that smells good. What's cooking?
Crunchy vegetables and pasta steamed together in a bag, so it's almost delicious. What do you reckon?
Mmm, well tasty.
The new Steam Fresh range from Birdseye, the food of life.
Nobody wants to wake up to a chilly home. But if your boiler does break down, it's good to know British Gas engineers are only a phone call away.
Morning, British Gas.
And that 92% of our home care customers would recommend our services. To find out more, visit britishgas.co.uk.
Because road conditions change in a second, BMW's intelligent four-wheel drive switches power from rear to front wheels in just 1/10 of a second, delivering so much grip, it's almost magnetic. X-Drive. Available models include Sports Hatch, Saloon, Coupe and Touring.
Your empire is how the world will remember you. It's where your dreams come to life. But you must not delay. Plan quickly, build quickly, or be destroyed quickly. Will you build an empire that lasts forever? Will you be my hero?
Game of War. Play for free now from the App Store.
There comes a time in their lives when they're not little kids anymore, but not quite grown-ups yet. An age when newfound love does not replace true love. At this age, they change so fast, so don't wait to take them to a place where you can still share everything together.
I am Tyrion, son of Tywin.
I've been on trial for being a dwarf my entire life. I am the sun. You are a spiteful little creature.
I want you to know what it's like to love someone, to truly love someone.
I would kill for you. I expect I'll have to before this is over.
Before I take her from you.
A very small man can cast a very large shadow.
The heart of a man is a secret that no one can ever explain. The fire that is quietly smoldering may suddenly burst into flame.
The relationship between Frankie and Stella Vaughan was another totally unique thing as far as I'm concerned. I never saw a male celebrity who didn't want to stray like Frankie Vaughan. He was totally in love with her. The way he talked about her was as if they'd just met, they'd been on their first date, they'd just fallen in love, or they'd just come back from their honeymoon. It was the perfect relationship.
He'd just done his national service, and I was a friend of his sister Myra, so we were all going to go to the Mecca Locarno in Leeds. And he said, oh, no, you mustn't go there, you're too young. He thought she was still like 16, and of course she was 18 already, you know. So she came to me and she said, oh, my big brother, she said, he's really bossy, you know, and he doesn't want me to go. So I said, well, let's go. I said, and if we see him, I said, I'll see to him, I'll tell him, you know, that I made you go. And so we went, and I was just walking along the back wall in the hall, and I saw Frank. So I started laughing because I was really nervous. We were looking out for him. We knew he'd gone as well, and so I burst out laughing. And he said that when he saw me laughing, he thought, oh, I'd like to invite her for a dance. So he tapped me on the shoulder and he said, would you like to have a dance? And so we did, and we had every dance that night. And he took me home on a tram for a penny.
With relationships, with partnerships, with wives, I think that Frankie was so lucky to meet Stella, and vice versa, of course.
When we got home, I invited him for a cup of tea because my mother always encouraged me to bring people in so that, you know, she knew who I was mixing with and everything. And so he came in and we were in the lounge and we played records, and you can tell how long ago it was. The record player had a winder. It was a wind-up record, but we listened to the music, and he asked me to be his girlfriend forever that night.
I can get along without a whole lot of dough. I just wanna follow you wherever you go. 'Cause it's true, I just can't get along without you.
We got married and then we moved to London, and we had tiny, tiny little bed-sitter in Macclesfield Street in Soho. And Frank used to go, he used to sing a lot with the bands as well. And we were very, very pushed for money at that time, and we couldn't afford very much. And so when he used to do weddings and bar mitzvahs and that sort of thing, he would bring me some fruit home, an apple and that sort of thing.
Whenever Frankie worked, she was there. My wife doesn't come to all my gigs, and only ones that particularly interesting, or we're going abroad, or we're on a cruise. But Stella was always with Frank, always, and he liked that. She wasn't sort of there just being there. She really looked after the sound. She looks after the publicity. She made sure that the people had their autographs signed. She was wife come roadie, if you like, which is not detrimental, but that's what I mean. Frankie didn't need a roadie, he had Stella.
I did travel with Frank, and when I learnt to drive, when we could afford a car, I drove Frank all over. And I used to be driving sometimes after a show in the middle of the night, and maybe it was snowing, and Frank would maybe, after he was very tired after a show, and he would close his eyes, and I was thinking as I'm driving, I think I'm the only person in the whole world awake, you know, driving on the motorways. But we did that, and we just enjoyed being together.
I think this is a very important thing, working in showbiz, if one does and one doesn't, to stay together, travel together, work together. My husband travelled around with me and worked with me for 58 years, and he handled all my business, and that is important, and particularly for a man, I think. You know, if he's happily married, for his wife to be able to go with him means a lot to him and his lifestyle.
While she lay sleeping, I stay out late and play my songs. Sometimes all the nights can be so long. It's good when I finally make it home, all alone, while she lay dreaming. I try to get undressed without the light, then quietly she says, how was your night? And I turn to her and say, was it right? And I'll hold her tight. I told her someday, if you'd be my girl, I could change the world with my little song. She's got faith in me, so I go on trying faithfully. Who knows, somehow, some special night, if my songs rise, I'm gonna find a way, find a way.
Get the newest blockbusters every week direct from the cinema to your home at the touch of a button. No long journeys, or waiting in age. And it's available for all Sky TV connected customers.
Right. You play.
With Sky Store, you can rent or buy the newest blockbusters direct from the cinema every week, straight to your TV. Go to Sky Store now.
At Morrison's, you can get our new kilo pack of fresh British chicken fillets for just £5.99. £5.99 per kilo? That definitely rules the roost.
Specially selected vegetables and richly spiced sauces with fluffy steamed rice. That's my delicious Uncle Ben's rice time. Begin with Ben.
I thought your place was free.